Welcome to Hardcover Feedback. I'm Brandi Smits.
I'm Tracey Hill.
And today we will be discussing Makers by Cory Doctorow. Perry and Lester invent things. Seashell robots that make toast. Boogie Woogie Elmo dolls that drive cars. They also invent entirely new economic systems like the New Work, a new deal for the technological era, specializing in open source technology. Together, they transform the country, and Suzanne Church, a journo-turned-blogger, is there to document it.
The ride went on and on, each room utterly different from how he'd left it, but somehow familiar, too. The ride he'd left had celebrated the new work and the people who'd made it happen, and so did this ride. But this ride was less linear, less about display, more... "It's a story," he said when he got off. "I think so too," Lester said. "It's been getting more and more story-like. The way that doll keeps reappearing, I think that someone had like 10 of them and just tossed them out at regular intervals, and then the +1ing snuck one into every scene." "It's got scenes. That's what they are, scenes. It's like a Disney ride, one of those dark rides in Fantasyland. Except those suck and our ride rocks. It's more like Pirates of the Caribbean." "Have it your way, whatever. How freaking weird is that?" "Not so weird. People see stories like they see faces in clouds. Once we gave them the ability to subtract the stuff that felt wrong and reinforce the stuff that felt right, it was only natural that they'd anthropomorphize the world into a story." Perry shook his head. "You think?" "We have this guy, a cultural studies prof, who comes practically every day. He's been telling me all about it. Stories are how we understand the world, and technology is how we choose our stories." I love that part.
I know. This is one of those books that are like an enigma in itself. It's like when you're reading this book, you have no concept that it's science fiction at first. It's just you don't even know. It is one of those books that is so subtly speculative fiction that this stuff could happen. And some of this stuff actually did happen, since the book was, whatever. But
yeah.
it's so bizarre because it's not so far away that it's unbelievable.
No.
It's kind of creepy.
No, because it's about a user-driven world. We start with Lester and Perry, who are very good friends, and they both have different talents, and they're able to build the cool stuff out of junk. But it's computerized, and it's digital, and it's robotics, and all these different, they're taking advantage of technology and they're playing with it, and they're shaping and reshaping these cast-off pieces into new things, which then becomes the new work.
Right.
And everyone who is out of work because big corporations go under try to take advantage of that, and they start creating their own user-driven kind of things and start selling these things. And for a while it's very successful, and then it isn't. And that's like the first quarter of the book.
Yeah, and then you're like, now what happens? All of Perry and Lester's, everything changes.
Yeah.
And then it turns into this whole, the ride, in the passage, is talking about these rides. So, for example, Walmart is gone. It's it's done.
Oh,
no one
that's
goes
right,
to
yeah.
Walmart anymore.
Yeah.
So they take these old Walmart stores and create this computerized, digitalized, technologicalized ride. And it's just things in the rooms are just random things placed somewhere, technology things, and they create this whole open source technology, no one owns any rights ride, and they start building them everywhere, all over the world.
Yeah.
There's these open source rides.
Yeah, well, other people do. And
Right.
these things are spontaneously springing up. The rides are user-driven, and that people do pay to go in and ride it, but then they are allowed and even encouraged to pull things off or add things in as they go through. And then the ride's constantly changing, so it's never the same thing. It's not like if you go to Disney and you ride the same thing every year, you know, unless there's some big announcement that, hey, we're shutting this down for a while to change it. Those don't change. Lester and Perry's rides do, because they're made to, they're built to, they were conceived that way.
And it's all about the evolution. This entire book is about like technological evolution. And not even technological, because there's a couple things that we've discussed when we were talking about this that have changed. Like, for instance, the center of everything is Russia.
Yeah, cultural.
It's weird.
Fashions.
Technology. Everything is Russia.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that was very interesting that was changed was the new diet fad. There's always a diet fad. There's South Beach diet. There was Atkins. There's, I don't even remember some of the other ones that were like lame.
And now there's
Fatkins.
Yeah, and
it's stupid. And you have like some kind of weird surgery, and it does something to your
sculpt the body completely, and then
you can eat anything you want, and you have to eat an exorbitant amount of food. You have to keep eating fatty foods all the time, or you will like die or something ridiculous like that.
And that's
so bizarre.
Yeah, and that, along with the rides and along with Lester and Perry, just trying to keep doing what they're wanting to do, and the world is changing all around them because of what they're doing, and they're being documented. That's why they're known, because Suzanne is blogging about them and makes herself famous. And
it's important to note that in this future, blogging is the news. There is no news on TV. There's no newspaper. Everything is understood.
That's the dependable media.
Blogs.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
like
what people look
there
at.
are no like facts anymore. Everything that's a fact is actually an opinion, and that's what people take as fact. It's very bizarre. And like I said, it's weird because it's not that far off from the future.
No, we're careening in that direction.
Like it's coming.
Yeah.
It's foreseeable. It's crazy.
It's not inevitable, but if you look around and just, oh yeah, we are leaning in that direction. We are starting to play with people's metabolisms. We do have 3D printers already, and that can make whatever you tell it to make.
And open source is huge. I mean, open source is its own little, technological explosion. There's so much open source stuff that you can pick up and make your own and change and tweak and then make available for other people.
Yep.
It's nuts.
Yeah, and so this is a fictional rendering, and it's a really good one too. It's not, we should say that as a book, it's a great book. It's not just, wow, look at all the cool things that could happen in our very near future. This is a really great story about really a core of 3.
Yeah, we didn't really mention that part. The characters are important to this. They really are.
Yeah, they're good.
They're good, and and that actually feeds a lot of this. It's all characters. It's all about their decisions. But that's just not as impressive as some of the stuff that.
Well, then again, everything that happens in this world that the author's given us is driven by the people in it. It doesn't come out of a big corporation. It comes out of the mind of one person who maybe collaborates with another person, who maybe gets reported on by a third person, a very small beginning that turns into something that's a worldwide phenomenon.
I agree. All right. Well, we both obviously enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I will give it 3 stars. I thought that the story was original. I thought it was insightful. I thought that it had like quirky moments where you're just like, oh, I recognize that. It's just there's a lot to it. It's a lengthy read, but it's not over the top and it's not too much. It's almost, you could go more. And I thought it was very good.
Yes. I give it 3.5, just simply because after that first quarter, and I was wondering, okay, where's the rest of this gonna go? Where it went after that just kept going deeper and building up more, and it was a story well told. It's just that well crafted a story.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.